The other day I was watching Will Smith's movie I Am Legend again for like, I don't know, the 99th millionth time. And this time around I was asking a question, or asked myself a question. What was really happening in the movie other than just pure entertainment? I mean, what really was happening? And particularly what was happening when Neville started to lose his mind when he thought Fred, the mannequin that he had given social status, when he thought Fred moved. And it had me thinking there was something deeper there. And I had to explore it because that's just me. By the way, Warren here. How are you guys doing out there? If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. But I mean, Fred wasn't alive, right? Like I said, Neville just made him socially real. And humans, we have a tendency to assign meaning to objects. And I'm going to get a little bit into the minutia of that because I think it's pretty rich of me to say that. But I do. I tend to assign sometimes meaning to objects. For example, a pet, there's a tease, and you'd argue they're not objects, but nuances. But when does an object become a relationship, though, to the point where when that object does something unseemingly, or so we think, it causes us to second guess ourselves and question our own reality? And then that got me further thinking, that is actually what occurs every day. And it doesn't get a movie title and trailers and a superstar actor or actress to portray our normal lives. But that is loneliness, right? We're social creatures, humans. And once we become lonely, that isolation changes our perception. And then, as we have been told and as we know, our perception is our reality until it changes, right? But that said, I'm also the guy that advocates for being that ultravert, because I am an ultravert. And before I define that, we are social creatures out of necessity, right? Our forefathers, ancestors would not have survived walking the cold tundra alone for the fact that it was the cold tundra. And what they hunted for food was hunting them. So community mattered. But I'm also that guy, then now to the ultravert, that believes in individuality, who believes in the individual too. Words. English is hard. And the ultravert is that person who can survive in an environment of community, but would rather and better operates and survives in an environment of some amount of individualism. There's the word, or another version of the word. But yeah, the ultravert. So there is that nuance, right? Shades of gray between black and white, because I am for community, as I'm advocating for in this episode. But it would be dishonest of me to leave out the fact that this has to consider the ultravert, right? But we need community, and but the question becomes, though, when that companionship, or when that assignment of an object into social status becomes stronger than evidence, when it starts making us second guess ourselves, right? And it's not insanity. It's not insanity. So there's that for the cynic who would say, or just blow it off as, you're crazy. meaning it or not. It's humanity. And loneliness is a big thing. And even today, where we're so connected, right? We're so connected by our devices, phones, tablets, computers. We're so connected, but yet so divided. And there is a lot more loneliness, I personally think. And this is just anecdotal research, not deep research. But I started looking at it. There is a lot more loneliness today in some respects than there was before the technology. And I think that's a standalone episode by itself. But what happens when we no longer trust our minds, right? And then that leads into the science of it, the uncanny, right? When things are just so off that they make us question our realities, right? That's not the formal definition, but things that are almost human but not quite, familiar yet unsettling, the uncanny. And I think that's in part what Will was going through, because the brain struggles with ambiguity, and that bleeds over into so many things, the way we communicate. I've done episodes about no is a complete sentence, and oh, by the way, so is yes, but not leaving things hanging. Clarity, we seek clarity, and being ambiguous just exacerbates the problem. But I talked about the fact that as humans, we humanize things, and I mentioned pets. We do. I talked to my golden retriever just before I came on, actually. She was wanting to go chase lizards, and I had to talk her down, right? We have these conversations, and it's not because I'm crazy or because I'm lonely. It's because during the day, it's me and her, and she's a companion. But I don't think, and this is questionable because she's so spoiled, I don't think I've assigned a role to her that replaces a human or replaces something, if that makes sense, right? It's just become a companionship out of necessity, and we build on it. It's, as they say, right, a guy and his dog, that loyalty. But that comes also with the human relationships that are nurtured. And that's the thing, that don't come with labels and expectations outside of the norm, right? Warren, you're drifting. Cars. I mean, some people humanize their cars, AI, memories, almost anything that we do. Books, the places we've been, and books, I'm guilty of that, and the places too. Houses, and some would say irrational, bleeding over into the insane, but it's not. It's relational for anyone without judgment, as long as it does not replace permanently that which is in your lives, those people in your lives, the relationships in your lives, right? Speaking of, I don't know if she's in the shot. Hey, mama. But I mean, companionships aren't just pleasant, right? They're not just pleasant. They help us to anchor reality. Hey, little girl, did you find any lizard? I mean, we need people, to challenge us, to call us on our BS, to ground us, teach us, encourage us, remind us of what is real. Again, not replaced with that which is in your life presently, but just to walk alongside. But we need people. As much as I'm that guy that advocates for giving the ultravert a break, I know we do. It's in our DNA, and I don't think that's going to change. And maybe the scariest part, just to wrap up, because I don't want to keep you, but maybe the scariest part of I'm Legend weren't the infected, you know? Mama, you're so distracting me. And it wasn't the darkness, I don't think either. Not even Fred moving, right? It's what's going on today, like I alluded to. He's watching people, a man, slowly lose the people who reminded him of what reality really looked like. Mama. And I think that's why we need each other more than we realize, as much as we also need our space. All right? We need each other more than we realize. But watching it again for the millionth time, and I thought, what was really going on this time? Not the entertainment, but at the core. And I thought I'd share that. So I would just humbly ask and remind us to do that, all right? That we need each other much more than we realize. And until our next conversation, you be good out there. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk again soon. You're so distracted. I'll see you. Hey, little girl. There. Daddy's done. I wish I could get you in the shot. All right, let's go see if we can find some lizards. You want to do it? Let's do it.